What is going on today, guys? Welcome to another video. My name is Jay and this is Digital 360. Thanks so much for stopping by. First and foremost, I just want to say that my last video was really well received. I had a ton of engagement. I had a lot of positive input from you guys out there, and I just really appreciate it. And I want to give a huge shout out to all of my new subscribers. You guys rock. Thank you so much for joining the channel, for joining the conversation. I really do appreciate it. And for those of you that are new to the channel, I just want to give you guys like a quick brief rundown of what this channel is all about. We do on occasion do talking videos like this and like the previous one, but most of the time I'm doing guitar demo reviews, I'm doing guitar gear and amplifier reviews, that sort of thing. We do write some music on the channel once in a while, some metal music. You know, I'm focused on the modern metal, the progressive metal stuff. But once in a while, I just want to have a conversation with you guys, and that's what this video is here today. So if you're into it, stick around. Today's topic is going to be a little contentious with some people, maybe. It might hit a nerve with some people, but I think it needs to be talked about, and I think that we need to kind of have a larger discussion about what's going on. So let's just get into it. All right, guys, so the topic of conversation today is going to be tariffs. Now, before you even get into it, before you all get heated, this is not supposed to be any kind of political discussion, not supposed to be a debate of any kind. And if I do see any hate bashing comments down below, I will immediately delete them. And if things get really bad, I'll just pull the video down completely. So that all being said, please keep things positive. I'm simply relaying to you what happened to me. So I'm gonna give you a quick backstory, and this one's gonna be very brief today, guys, so don't worry. This past summer, you may know, I went to 42 Gear Street in Germany at Henning Pauli's place. Had an amazing time. I met a bunch of wonderful people. Thanks a lot, Henning, for inviting me. Yeah, so anyways, one of the companies that I did collaborate with while I was there doing some videos was a company called Summer Cable. They're a German company. I think the name is actually pronounced Zomar Cable, but being that I don't speak any German, I'm just gonna use the US pronunciation of Summer Cable. So that being said, they offer all sorts of cables, all sorts of electronic connectivity, items I don't even know. The catalog is literally like an inch thick. I mean, they have so many things that they offer, and some of which are geared towards musicians. So I reached out to Summer Cable and I said, look, I'm trying to, complete my studio space. Can you guys help me out? And they're like, sure, no problem. Just send us a list of some of the items you might need and we'll get them out to you. So I was like, cool, that is amazing. And I didn't want to feel like I was taking advantage of any company or anybody, so I didn't really want to push it. I just asked for a few of the basic cables that I knew I would need right off the bat. Nothing totally crazy expensive, and I'm going to show you guys those cables in just a moment. But the point is, when they sent the package out to me, it landed on the US shores and immediately went to a customs checkpoint of some sort, and it's kind of stalled there for a couple of weeks, so I was just wondering, what's going on. They didn't send anything illegal. They're cables, right? No big deal. I figured they would just get to me quicker. Then a couple more weeks go by and I got this. Let me see. I have here in my hands a granola bar. That's not important. And more importantly, this UPS invoice. This is called a International Package Services invoice, and the amount on this is $340.48. I'm like, what? First of all, why is it so much money? The total amount of the cables that I requested was approximately that same amount, if not less. And it's like, what is this bill for? I realize that there's this new tariff policy in place and there's nothing we can do about it. We just kind of have to deal with it. But I thought to myself, I didn't buy these items. I didn't pay for them in any way. They were gifted to me. They were sent to me from some other place. And why do I have to pay these tariffs? So it turns out that because they're cables, because of the materials used in cables, the different various metals, they all have different amounts of percentages of tariffs that will be applied to them based on both what the material is, what kind of metal it is, and where that metal originated. The bill of lading, or the invoice that comes along with the cables, doesn't say, what the materials are or where the metals originated. So the tariff policy, I guess, has some stipulation that if you can't explicitly determine where certain metals came from, they're going to assume the worst. The worst being Russia, essentially. The tariffs on imports from Russia are something like 200%, some ridiculous amount of money. So that is why this bill is so much, $340. I'm like, well, that's all well and good. If it was a couple of dollars, 10, 20 bucks, I'd be like, whatever, I'll pay it, no problem. But this is fairly exorbitant. So I was like, I'm not going to pay that. I'm not going to. So I'll refuse the package. So I reached out to Summer Cable, and I had some communication with a fellow there by the name of Michael, who was extremely gracious and kind and understanding. That's the fellow I dealt with the entire time. He was a really gracious, nice person. And he was like, I understand the situation. If we can't, figure this out, then just kindly send the stuff back, which I did. Well, actually, I didn't send it back. I refused it when the delivery came to my house. You can do that, apparently. I had never done that before. You can just verbally tell them, look, I'm refusing this package because I'm not willing to pay the tariffs. So I thought that's the end of it. Thank you so much anyways, Summer Cable, but here's your products back. Well, then it turned out that UPS was still holding on to the package. They were going to try to deliver it again for some reason, which I don't really understand. And this kind of dragged on for weeks. So Michael from Summer Cables began communicating with me a little bit more, and UPS got involved. They were sending emails back and forth, regarding the amount of the bill. Why do we have to pay it? Why was it so much? Okay, the end user has refused the package, so he sent it back. I don't know. In the end, Summer Cable agreed to pay the tariff bill, essentially. You would think that would be the end of it, right? So UPS, whoever the person was on the other end of this email chain, just wasn't getting it. They weren't willing to make sure that it got to the right department to get handled properly. They basically wiped their hands of it. They kind of said, this isn't my job. This isn't my department. You can reach out to UPS, such and such department. And Michael and myself are both like, what? I mean, you're the company. You figure it out, right? You're the ones charging us the bill. You get it to the right department. Summer Cable is willing to pay the bill, and that'll be that. So anyways, this went on for weeks and weeks and weeks. And in the end, I did receive the package. In the end, Summer Cable did pay the tariff bill as they had agreed to. And it took 2.5 months for these cables to get here. Literally, 2.5 months. So I finally have them. I was just waiting to get into the new space to kind of bust them out and show you guys because, I don't know, I just thought, what's the point of it all, right? So, so the bottom line, my takeaway from this whole thing is, okay, I get the tariff issue. I get what's going on, and I really don't want to get into a political debate about it. But somebody like us, someone like me, the end consumer, we have to jump through hoops to get these products. And even if we have to pay the tariffs, it takes that much longer. And now we're paying third-party companies, the delivery companies or whoever to pay off these tariffs. It's just a headache, man. So I think going forward, I'm going to kind of limit the amount of products that I get imported from other countries, at least for the interim, at least while these tariffs are still in place. I also had an issue with the guitars I recently reviewed from Gear for Music. It was a similar thing. They weren't going to deliver them unless I paid the fee. I had an agreement worked out with Gear for Music, so that's been settled. But again, in order to get those items from another country, you have to pay these exorbitant tariff fees, or else the sending company has to pay the fees. One way or the other, those fees have to get paid. So it is what it is. It's a huge headache. I don't really appreciate it. And, going forward, we're just not going to buy many imported products, I guess. I mean, what is your take on it? Have you had a similar experience with trying to get something in, whether it's a guitar or what have you? Some of these companies, I will say this, some of these foreign companies do have some sort of distribution network or some warehousing here in the States. So if the product is already in the States, then there's no issue. There's no tariff, to deal with. You can just buy the product outright and they ship it from whatever warehouse they have. But with these particular companies like Summer Cable, they don't have that. They don't need to have that, right? So whatever. It is what it is. I'm going to show you the cables now. Hold on. All right, so here is the entirety of the package of cables that I requested. And like I said, it's not very many, just a few things here, a few mic cables and such, to kind of get me set up with the recording setup here. Mic cables, they're mostly mic cables, headphone cables, a couple guitar cables, and a couple of cables to run to cabinets, because I'm going to be running I'm going to use the back room of this studio here essentially for my cab room. So, I can blast the cabinets back there, run the cables under the door. It's not soundproof, but it's going to be a huge, upgrade from what I was doing in my house, essentially. So yeah, just, guitar cables, cabinet cables, microphone cables in various different colors. They got a bunch of different colors too, which is really cool. But Summer Cable, I must say, they were so kind to send this stuff along to me. So thank you so much, Michael, and everyone at Summer Cable that was involved. with getting me this package. I really, really do appreciate it. Sincerely, thank you so much. These all will be put to good use very shortly. But yeah, that is the conversation of the day, guys. Tariffs, and what do you think about it? And again, keep it positive, keep it lighthearted. You know, I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, doesn't matter to me. You know, we can all get along in the end, but the tariffs are a pain in the ass, I'll be quite honest. And I'll be glad when that policy gets reversed. So hopefully that happens soon. I don't know. Look, we have limited money, right? We don't want to spend more money for the stuff that we want or need for our work, for our hobbies, for whatever, right? So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And as always, please make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. Like this video if you got any benefit from it. And let me know what you guys think. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Until the next video, I'm out of here. See ya!